Hey guys.
What's happening?
How y'all doing?
We got the crew tonight.
Oh,
got Matt,
Gwen
and Lee traveling via automobile.
Automobile.
That's right.
Yep.
But this is going to be this is going to be a really good one tonight. We're going to be talking about conspiracy theories and people that were possibly or just accused of being serial killers. So this is our big one of our specials for Spooktober. And of course, next week we're going to have another special kind of ending out our October Mondays. And that's going to be a big one with James Stokes, who plays Jason Voorhees in the movie Voorhees, or I think it's called Voorhees. Yeah. So that should be a really good one too.
He's got a lot.
He's in Stranger Things.
Yeah,
we met him before, Matt. You remember him? He's a nice guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, big man. When he puts all that stuff on, guys, he's huge.
Yeah.
He's huge.
Can you guys see Haunted Syndicate, who is Blaine?
Hey, Blaine. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Blaine. Happy birthday, dear brother. Happy birthday to you.
Yes.
You can tell
We love you, brother.
Oh, he says thank you. I know Lee can't see. She's in the car, so he says thank you. We love you and we miss you.
We love you. I talked to him a little while earlier, and I was going to call him back, but the shuttle took too long, and I'm in the car, and it was time to start the show. So I'm glad he's able to see us.
Yeah, good.
Okay, Blaine. I hope you'll stick with us tonight, because we've got a really crazy one.
Mm-hmm.
This is Tom's fault. He came up with this crap.
I know. And again, that's what happens when you're known to know a lot about serial killers. You come up with weird serial killer topics.
Right.
He said he's going to stick with us. Yay!
Yay!
That's awesome. I'm glad he's doing well. And again, hashtag like a Joe. Can't get better than that.
Can't get any better than that. No.
We'll have to throw that up there, Gwen. So.
You read my mind, man. I'm trying, but I had to fix a little glitch.
I'm kind of psychic or some kind of shaman of some sort. So.
Look at that. Look.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
That's what the spirit guides say.
Yeah. But you know what? They say a lot of stuff about some crazy people.
Oh.
And that's what our show's about tonight.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that are famous people that have been rumored to be a serial killer or murderer.
Yeah. Probably one of the biggest ones for me is you guys. I think I've told you before. I was a demo singer for quite a while. I did my time down in Nashville. I was nearly on the show Nashville Star. I just missed out. I was like a runner-up in case somebody fell out. I would have been on the show. But all that singing, all that time, all my time down there, anytime I tell somebody I'm a singer and they look at me and stare and think, you look like Garth Brooks. So I think it's because of Garth Brooks that I have no music career. I guess I look too much like him, and there was already a Garth Brooks. So, but I'm glad that I have a parallel true crime. Yeah, there could be only one Highlander. But Garth Brooks, believe it or not, this whole thing started with a rumor on a podcast by Tom Segura, the comedian, and how he was saying, yeah, Garth Brooks is, there he is. Garth Brooks has got to be like a serial killer. He says he's got that serial killer smile. And then things started getting out of control where a lot of his concerts where he would go, all the cities he would go, somebody would end up missing on the day that he was there for concerts. And then there was rumor that he was taking these people and taking them hostage, takes them back to his place, kills them, and then they're all buried on his property. So that was a rumor. Of course, you should go out there and take a look, see if there's anything under the ground. But, you know, it all comes to be BS. But you really think about it, it kind of makes sense if you really dive deep into the conspiracy behind it and how it grew legs and took off. It's like Garth Brooks, he's a great singer, but that's what happens. You get accused of a lot of things when you get that popular. So there's always the big side and there's always the negative side of it, but you never know. There's so many conspiracies about, even nowadays with Hollywood and Epstein Island and all these people that go missing and all these people end up dead or never seen again, that grab onto these things. But there's always a possibility of anything. A serial killer is never going to come out and say, hey, I'm a serial killer, unless you're Ed Kemper and you just tell him you are. But that's like kind of the theory behind Garth Brooks taking people at concert venues and stealing them. People end up missing at all his stops along the tour and potentially buried in his backyard. So that would make a great movie. But a lot of it stems from, because I don't know if you go years back before he supposedly retired and then he came back. Before he supposedly retired, he kind of jumped the shark and he had this alter ego called Chris Gaines. So it was like a rock guy and his hair was like, and he's all dark and mysterious. So that's like another way the rumor started, is because they kind of look at that as his dark persona, almost like a John Wayne Gacy had his clown persona or whatever. So there's like those similarities. You see some famous serial killers, and then he's doing stuff near the end there just before he drops off the face of the earth, basically to raise his kids. He wanted to give him more of a life where he wasn't traveling as much, so you could see him go through high school, stuff like that. But that's the crazy part, is he has that little dark personality. Supposedly the Chris Gaines is the cover up, and how everything gets going, and our worldwide interwebs and how rumors get going, and people jump onto them, and the next thing you know, people think they're real. And Garth Brooks never really said anything to the contrary. All he did was block Tom Segura on social media. That's about all that happened. So.
But that picture.
I got TikTok.
Look at the picture.
I got TikTok, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Gwen.
No, that's fine. I was showing them that picture I have. That he's looking sideways and his eyes kind of are blue. That's why I picked that picture. I know you can't see it, but when we go back, I'll send it to you. And he's kind of got that same. I can see it.
Well, then if he does, then I do.
Yeah, but think about this. Think about the magnitude of every place, because he was a big guy touring all over the place. And if every place he went, somebody went missing the same night, I mean, that's pretty intense.
That's
hundreds of tour locations on a tour.
But that's the funny thing is when you are Garth Brooks, you're the main person, right? Yeah. So he has all this whole crew that's with him. who's to say that somebody on his crew is the actual serial killer?
Right. Somebody could have been with him the whole time.
Could have been his guitar player for all the heck we know. So
well, how many people are on the, not just the
Probably a drummer.
roadies and stuff?
It's usually the drummer. blame it on the drummer, you know. He's the one that's supposed to keep rhythm, you know.
There you go.
Dang it, guys! Blaine's a drummer. Y'all cut that shit out.
Well, that's why he came up with hashtag like a Joe. Fault, so.
We're joking with you, Blaine, but it is kind of funny.
We love him. It is his birthday. We got to have fun with him. So.
There you go.
I know. God, I'm so glad to know he's watching us.
Me too.
God, Blaine, we've missed you so bad.
We have, man.
Yeah, Stacia just said, you know, it's always a drummer unless it's Def Leppard. So I don't know how serial killers do it with one arm. So, but that's
then
good.
it's just attempted.
Yeah, but probably one of the funniest rumors and all that, and lately it's come up with all AI stuff now. They're rehashing all the old nice people of our world, like Mr. Rogers and stuff like that. But people accuse Bob Ross.
Don't blame the
famous
drummer,
painter.
Yeah.
People are blaming Bob Ross for being a serial killer. They said all his paintings on his show was him subliminally telling people where he buried the bodies. So,
and I know that's y'all. I had to do this real quick, and I know other stuff popped up, but he's the guy with the hair. But if you look, he's got mountains and trees and everything in the background. And I remember watching him.
Oh yeah. But the funny thing is, he'd be painting like a tree, and you know, he was like, "Oh, I don't really like that." So, it's just a happy little mistake. You know, that's they're saying his happy little mistakes are a little bit more than mistakes, possibly. So, but yeah, that was a big one, and you really got to say, you know, he was in the Air Force, and one of the things that he said in the Air Force, he had to be tough because he was a master sergeant, so he did a lot of the drills and all that. So he was very in your face with a lot of the, you know, cadets or anything like that. So when he left the military, he says, "I'm going to do everything I can to not be that guy anymore, to be the nicest guy and all that." But it shows you, you know, hey, he might have an edge. I don't know. So
I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah. So,
Mr. Rogers.
Well, I will say this now. If you look at the pictures that he's painted, and you know, maybe go on YouTube, and look at some of the videos of it. His scenery that he's painted does look like crime scenes, and there's like 5.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Blaine says Blaine the keyboard player.
Yeah, could be. Their fingers are always up to no good, I guess.
They got a bit, up to no good. Hey, you know, thinking back about Mr. Rogers, wasn't he in some kind of special forces too? And that's the reason why he had to wear the long sweaters.
Well, there was rumor that he was in the military, but it wasn't special forces. People were saying he was a Navy SEAL, but at the time, Mr. Rogers there was no Navy SEAls at the time. Mr. Rogers was. That was still just, I think it's still just Underwater Demolition Team, UDT. And then, you know, it wasn't until JFK started calling them Navy SEALs during Vietnam. So I think Mr. Rogers was already out by then. But I don't think he was ever shown. He was in the military, but I don't think he was special forces. That was like a rumor online. But it would be kind of funny going from some guy that could rip your throat out to just the real nice guy putting a sweater on and his sneakers on and telling you all about the good things in life and stuff like that. You know, that's
neighbor.
Yeah, I know. But it shows you sometimes. That's why people think that you have that past, that dark side.
Right.
And then you have the nice side. It's like the back and forth. It's that bipolar kind of thing. Even with Bob Ross, knowing his military background, how nice of a guy, doing the happy little trees. And it's funny, is that guy just going to freaking lose it one of these days and go screw this happy little tree and just hang somebody from it? I don't know. You know, that's the rumor. That's why they start. You really look at somebody's personality sometimes, and they're on the air, and we're here behind our keyboard watching stuff like this, and we're like, you know what? It kind of sounds like he could really like lose it at any time, and then it becomes a joke, and then it turns into something where people are like, maybe he was. So that's always the rumor, which is, it's funny because anybody with Bob Ross would, yeah. So
I would never have guessed that. Not him.
Yeah. Oh God, no. But
I'm looking right now because I wasn't sure about Mr. Rogers because I had heard, and it says now, and this is just what it says on here. It said he never actually served. Yeah. He got qualified as unqualified after one of his physicals. So yeah, I don't know if he actually. Lee will be back in a minute, but
sometimes, you know, if you don't qualify, there's administrative stuff that you can help the military, but not truly be military. Matt would really be able to speak better about that.
I'm just looking what I saw on the interway up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you never know. Yeah, I tell you, it's like we look all this stuff up on the internet now, and it's like, what do we believe anymore? It's hard, you know. And even with the paranormal, there's so much stuff that goes on. I really look at it this way, and I've told people before. I love all your evidence and all that, but I can't really say anything. I wasn't there. It's almost like you have to experience it. Yeah, Captain Kangaroo. Yeah,
military too. I wouldn't have guessed that either.
All these guys. And go ahead, Matt.
If you had told me that somebody like Slim Goodbody was a serial killer, I'll probably have been like, okay, yeah, I get that. Remember Mr. Slim Goodbody?
Oh yeah, God.
That was a little bit freaky when I was growing up. I was like, oh my gosh, I see all the bones and the muscles. Yeah,
you know what I could see that. Somebody's got to make a movie. All right, we're gonna hear it here first. We're copywriting this, so if the movie's made, you owe me a percentage. You owe us all a percentage.
There you go.
They should take all our favorite people growing up, like Captain Kangaroo, Mr. Rogers, Bob, all them, and put them as a group of serial killers that go around. Well, they already made Winnie the Pooh a serial killer, so why not? So.
Lee, are you hitting buttons? Because please stop.
Make a club of them or something like that.
I think that might be.
You are. You're messing. Please stop. I love you, but please. Sorry, guys. She keeps hitting that. Yeah.
Clickety clicking.
Clickety clicking.
I'm clickety clicking. I was trying to turn my camera off because you don't need to see. Okay, good.
You got that? I did it. Thing. Yeah, I tried to put a picture up, but it wouldn't let me. So
now a little more up to date person. A lot of people may not know who this guy is, but he was up for some awards. He's been in a lot of pretty cool movies. There was an up to date version of The Lone Ranger. There was the movie Call Me by Your Name that the other actor that was with him has been in a lot of great movies. He played like Bob Dylan recently, that other actor. But the guy's name is Armie Hammer. I don't know if you ever heard the name. There he is. So now,
sorry guys, I did it at the last minute.
So Armie Hammer, at a time he was working construction, and there was a lot of missing women in the area, and there was some text messages of his about, him really, talking about being into cannibalism. There was like some weird sexual things that he liked to do with these like women, and these missing women, they were finding bodies, in the Joshua Tree forest area, and seeing these text messages, him being in the area, these missing women and all that. Now things were getting back to him, then he has his acting career, and a lot of this just came back out recently where, he's kind of persona non grata in Hollywood now, where there might be some legs to this a little bit. They haven't been able to prove anything, but there's a possibility that there's been some missing people. And by the way he's talking, and there's been some talk about him intertwining with some of these missing women at one time or another. So, yeah. So I know a lot of people may not know who Armie Hammer is. Go check it out, look it up, and just see what I'm talking about. It's pretty crazy. So there, out of all the people we've talked about so far, I think there's more validity to this guy because of his personality and the things that he likes, and how he's came to that point. So that's like a big one. So you got to check that one out. And
one more time. He looks like a Boy Scout.
Yeah,
I got this mental image of this guy coming up with his stage name, and he turning around and he looks at a box of Arm & Hammer soap and goes, "Let me Arm & Hammer. Yeah, we'll do that."
Well, the funny thing is that is his real name. His father, I know his father was like some big wig in like oil or something like that, and his name was Armand Hammer. So I think he's like a junior or a second or third. I don't know. And maybe Army is like a, the old like Tom and Tommy, so that kind of thing. So that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, I kind of I kind of would agree with you on that one, Matt. It probably is. Oh, you never know when people come up with their names or looking at a cereal box and decide.
Especially back in the day, they all changed their names.
Oh yeah,
better. Yeah.
Yeah, because some of them had more feminine names and all that, and
Francis.
So they
John
wanted to
Wayne.
be more John Wayne. Yeah, John Wayne's John Wayne's first name was Marion.
It was something feminine.
Yeah. So he changed that.
I'm
looking. Who's Francis? I remember there was a Francis too. That was a famous person.
I'm not sure.
It's not coming to me.
But the
when
thing
we hang up, it'll come to me.
Yeah, but I'm glad we're talking about all the old school people, like John Wayne and stuff like that. Do you realize back in the day, in the golden Hollywood days and all that, when you had all these actors and actresses, and anything that would happen back then would be swept under the rug?
Yep.
All these parties that they would have and things like that, because they didn't want the bad things to happen. Like nowadays, you can't get away with everything because we have social media, all that other stuff. So they just hide everything under the table. So one of the big ones back then is you guys all know who Orson Welles is, right?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah, War of the Worlds. You name it. One of the bigger names. But the rumor is he had this thing where a lot of the extras that were in his movies and all that, if somebody like messed up, they'd go missing and nobody know where they went. And they were wondering, like, his attachment to it, there'd be some anger. He'd be angry at somebody and then you never see him again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wonder what's going on there. So there's that rumor of that. And when, he became obsessed with the Black Dahlia murder. So there was a rumor that he might have had part in that too, because of some run-ins, her being an extra. Don't know if there's a run-in with one of his movies, but when he died, just before he died, there's missing pages out of his diary that he was writing. So it's almost like there was something that he was hiding or anything like that. So that's where a lot of the rumors like started with Orson Welles, these missing extras and missing diary pages, his obsession with the Black Dahlia. So a lot of serial killers become obsessed, especially when their kills get put into the news, because a lot of these people want to be famous, just like a lot of people nowadays. That's where Hollywood is. How do I stay famous? If somebody's going to take my fame away from me, I might have to kill them, like they might have done back in the day to avoid, those problems. And Orson Welles is like one of those big names. But probably another one, some of you may know, a lot of us with the older ones are grandparents, stuff like that. But you'll hear them. Anybody ever hear Errol Flynn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Errol Flynn was
Man in Tights.
A big name actor, like good looking guy. And
isn't he the grandfather of, or the dad of It Left?
Yeah. Well, you'll get it. So hopefully somebody will chime in. Somebody will know better than us. But
hey, now, Brandon. Hey, Raven.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody?
Brandon.
Yeah.
Hey,
I know
guys,
Raven's show's coming up after ours. There's Brandon. What's up, Gnome? So,
you think about it too. You were talking about to keep somebody from getting your job. You find out somebody's going to a casting call that you're going to.
Yeah.
It may not be the person, the actual actor, but you think about how many people make their living off of that actor, their producers, their agents, their personal assistants. And, somebody looks at losing a job, they may be like, you know what, if I eliminate this person, then you'll definitely get the job. So it could be. Yeah.
And you're talking about a time back then where there's no DNA evidence. The powers that be swept stuff under the rug. It's like, old Hollywood was like the Wild Wild West sometimes, if you really think about it, especially if there's competition. And a lot of people that become actors, it's like, hey, look at me. I want to be noticed. I have that need. And if somebody's going to get in my way, I got to eliminate them. But Errol Flynn, one of those people, the guy's a good looking guy. He shouldn't have any problem getting roles or anything like that. But he had a secret hunting lodge that only, people would be able to come if he invited them. And they had to be like somebody, to get invited. But the problem is some of these people that were invited to this lodge never came back to the city, and nobody ever saw them again. So there was claims, they just disappeared. Oh, who knows? They went on a hunting trip and nobody came back. But a lot of it was, they said that some of the neighbors said they would hear screaming near the lodge and all that. So there's been, people saying, oh, somebody was screaming out in the woods. But again, it gets swept under the rug. So maybe Errol Flynn's just not really hunting animals. He's hunting his own, people that he invited out there for fun, I guess. I don't know. It's like the butcher baker up in Alaska that used to, kidnap people. And then he'd say, go ahead and escape. If you could get away from me, you live. But he would always hunt them down and kill them. That was his serial killer way of doing things. This sounds the same with Errol Flynn. If he was a serial killer, that he probably was doing the same thing. Who knows? So, you run screaming out into the woods and nobody ever sees you ever again. So.
The excitement of the hunt.
Yeah. But that's at the end of it. I'm saying a lot of these people are golden Hollywood. We're going to save the best one for last, of course. So we'll have to say the best one, which is even further back. But we'll talk about that one in a minute. Another one, anybody ever hear of Hedy Lamarr?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Hedy Lamarr was considered the most beautiful woman in the world at the time, of course. And we're talking during the 40s, all right, 30s, 40s. Now, the thing people don't know is, what's going on, Jeff? If you want to know something, Hedy Lamarr was considered one of the most intelligent people in the world. So because of her studies and her science and what she did, she started the beginnings of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth because of her scientific studies.
Really?
She helped during World War II to help come up with technology to sink torpedoes, to be able to put them off course and all that. And then she's got into, the acting and all that. So she's so intelligent. But she had this diary of all these chemicals she put together and create poisons.
Ooh.
And there'd be some rivals that weren't rivals anymore after meeting up with Hedy Lamarr. Some of these extras were getting sick and going to the hospital, some of them not making it, and those other things. So what was Hedy? Was Hedy, maybe near when the beauty started going away a little bit, because they really didn't have plastic surgery back then, like some of these people use nowadays, a little too much, but
nip and tuck.
Yeah, so now somebody's a little more beautiful. It's like, oh shit, I better poison them. So
getting a little bit of that nightshade lipstick.
Yeah, that nightshade. And what flavor is that? Nightshade.
It will knock you out.
For sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a perfect blend of lipstick there you got there, Matt. So yeah.
Matt, if you give me lipstick, I'm not using it.
I know.
Yeah.
What color is that? It's nightshade.
It's all right. There's a vial of antidote somewhere. Now starts the good scavenger hunt.
I think she's beautiful.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
she's got serial killer eyes.
She looks like the woman that she looks like Morticia Adams and Betty Davis had a baby.
Yeah,
I said she looked like Betty Davis.
Yeah,
you're right.
She's got the Betty Davis eyes.
Yes,
she does. She has gorgeous eyes.
That was a big thing in Hollywood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Elizabeth Taylor in there somewhere too.
Oh, true.
Elizabeth Taylor's eyes.
She's got that little heart-shaped face.
Elizabeth Taylor's eyes are violet. They're like purple, and that's like 0.01 of the population has those type of eyes. So
she was beautiful till the very end. Oh yeah. Lord.
Oh yeah. But, yep. Now another one. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, Chris. Hey, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, everybody's like chiming in.
That's why I'm on the phone talking to him like Miss, and then I'm like, hop in, say hey. So.
Oh yeah, I'm glad. That's awesome.
Yeah, I shared them to all my groups, so we got this, y'all.
Yeah, we got to get everybody on. It's Spooktober.
And I will put it out there. Matt doesn't know as much as we do, but Matt, if you see the little counter at the top, not even close. It doesn't. No, because I can look and see how many people are on. Everybody.
I'm not even worried about that.
Yeah. But but look at
Ignore
her
it.
eyes. Can you imagine? I mean,
Those arched eyebrows is Elizabeth Taylor to me.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is in Hollywood, when somebody hits it big and a lot of people come to see them. What's up, Marla?
Sorry, I'm getting
And a lot
there.
of people, like somebody like Hedy Lamarr, you see her, she's beautiful, right? And then she starts getting in these movies and tickets are selling. So what are they going to do? They're going to find the next Hedy Lamarr. They're going to find somebody that looks just like her. So that's what they used to do in Hollywood because they wanted to get that. And then when that goes by the wayside, they got to find the next big thing. And then everybody else tries to find somebody that looks like them. It's the same thing in music. So music and acting and all that, it's all the same. Find the next who sounds like this. That's why music changes, as you go, it sounds different. Because if you look at a certain time, you're like, oh, okay, that was popular. Then everybody started doing it. That's why that whole decade or 2 decades sounds the same. So everybody wanted to jump on the bandwagon. But one of the other big things, we're talking about actors and all that, and just like our childhood. I don't know, any of you guys like a Superman fan? Did you like Superman?
Oh gosh, yes. My mother loved George.
George Reeves and all that. Now, there's a lot of stuff. Even say who killed George Reeves? That's the mystery. But a lot of people didn't know when George Reeves, Superman, helping everybody and all this other stuff. George Reeves personally, he had a really bad temper, and a lot of his relationships were always like bad or like abusive and things like that. But the problem was a lot of these people, again, that were attached to George Reeves, there was a disagreement. And then the next thing you know, a lot of these people had accidental deaths happen.
Wow.
So, somebody fell down the stairs. I wonder how that happened. Or they would just disappear and never to be seen again. Is George Reeves doing it, or somebody with George Reeves doing it for him? We don't know. But there is that speculation that he was attached to a lot of people that had accidental deaths, a little bit more than most normal people,
Did
probably about
on the sets. Did any of them happen on the set?
Not that I saw, but of course, if it happened on the set, that would probably be a little more into it, because you're talking about taking money from the producers, holding up time.
True.
So I don't think they want to sweep that.
I remember hearing he had a bit of a drinking problem too, and that was, with him, it was like instant asshole, just add alcohol, that kind of thing.
It is a lot at that time. We don't have what we have now. It's the same thing with, back then you get PTSD and you come home and people try and feed their PTSD with alcohol, drugs, or just other things. They don't have the help that they have now to move through that. So a lot of these people we're talking about, a lot of these people like George and all them, they were probably all military vets, because back then you had the draft. Most people were in the military, whether they liked it or not. So, and they served. And so you have a lot more people may not have been that career military guy that can handle it as well. Some of these people just weren't prepared to handle stuff like that. And it totally changes their personality. It's, being in the military where you didn't want to be could really create a trauma. But if you want to be, really it just becomes part of your life, and it's not really bad. But that's with anything. You get the good and bad out of everything. But there's that potential. But,
it makes me wonder, because there's this stigma kind of conspiracy theory that follows along with everybody who's ever played Superman, that all this, because a lot of bad things have happened to the people who played it. And I wonder if maybe he created some kind of curse, or somebody put something on that character, not realizing that it would carry on as like a generational curse to the next person that plays that.
That is a great thing that you said, Matt. Part of the, our serial kill supernatural side of things. That's definitely a possibility. There's those curses because something happens. There's a catalyst. And then, like you said, generational things happen. Is there a curse on that character? Did George hurt somebody that had the potential to put a curse just on that character alone? So anybody that plays him, it's almost, you go back to all these different curses over the years that create problems. Like I'm originally from New England. I'm living in Ohio now, but the old curse was when Babe Ruth was traded from the Red Sox, to the Yankees, and they had the curse of the Bambino. It was like hundreds of years before the Red Sox even were back in the World Series. But those types of things, and you never know with what it creates and what happens there. But we are in Spooktober,
right?
So
Matt, your camera went out.
Yeah. So what better person to talk about who had the potential to be a serial killer, who played kind of, like a serial killer in a way back in the day.
Sorta.
Yeah, a little, we could say Dracula was a serial killer kind of in a way, if you really want to look at it, but he was unalive, and they did come back to life, but, they had to die first and come back. But Bela Lugosi.
Oh, yeah.
Bela. So look at the eyes on him. Yeah, Bela Lugosi. He had those mysterious eyes. That's probably why they made him Dracula, because he had that mysterious look to him, but
I'm back.
Yeah, Bela Lugosi.
Oh, yeah.
He was buried in his Dracula costume.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, maybe you had to become the monster to be able to play the monster.
Yeah, they said he would wander around like movie sets, like talking like he was Dracula when, I don't know if he was method acting or anything like that, or what was known at the time. But they did say he would have a lot of parties and he'd play these secret games, that people were invited to these secret games. But a lot of the bit actors that were part of it would end up like disappearing and never to be seen again, and those types of things. What were going on with these secret games where people losing their lives? Was he actually being Dracula, being the monster? Even to this day, the vibe of the house that he lived in out west there, when people go by it, they get the creeps still, knowing that Bela Lugosi lived there. And just, it could be the essence of maybe the people that he might have killed in there, screaming for somebody to help them pass on or anything like that. That vibe, that energy of that potential, what he was doing during those secret games is weighing over the Hollywood of the golden age, as we say. But that's like one of the big ones. And I know we're kind of flying through all these, but what do you guys think so far? Which one really jumps out at you guys the most?
So the Bela Lugosi one is interesting to me because you think about some of the great actors that we've known through the years, and you hear about some of the struggles they had when they started really deep diving, studying into how to become that character.
Right.
And there's no telling what he dove into to become that character. I mean, even to the point of some spiritual things and maybe even conjuring, or get to go even as far as necromancy for some of the movies he did. Yeah. That could be anything that he wanted to get that full immersion effect.
Yeah. Well, we're talking early days.
That one jumps out at me.
Yeah, because you're talking really early days where there's still the seance stuff going on, and almost like the end of that Victorian age, and those stuff is still going on, and the conjuring, and you don't know. He's the type of person that could have got that supernatural attachment that created him maybe to kill off some of these people to become Dracula without really being Dracula, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You create your own egregore for yourself, your thought form, and that thought form overtakes you, and next thing you know, you are Dracula, taking out these people while you play your little magic games at your house, because he'd like to do magic and all that. Yeah. So he would practice like making people disappear, and guess what? Those people never came back. So
he didn't perfect that part, right?
Yeah, he didn't perfect it, but I think there was purpose behind that from what we're talking about potentially. Right. But all these people, just so everybody knows, all the people we're talking about never been convicted of being serial killers or anything like that. It's just, there's so much, when you become a big star like that, and the things that you do in that lifestyle and your personality, you might have rubbed somebody the wrong way. Of course, that stuff's going to come out, and it's going to gain legs, because they are famous people. So I don't want anybody to think what we're talking about or we're saying they are serious. We're just giving you things to think about.
Right.
Maybe they are. Maybe you could dive into it a little deeper. Do your research yourself. And it is amazing of how Hollywood, even today, there's people now. What's going on, Janet? There's people nowadays,
Hey,
you
Janet.
think about where people go missing. Like look at now, P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs, all these people going on right now. The Epstein Island, all those people attached to that. People gone missing. I remember there was a lot of rumors. Hopefully I won't say this. Hopefully I won't end up in Lake Erie behind me. But, there's a rumor of how a lot of people went missing and had weird deaths, accidental deaths that were attached to the Clintons. So that's another thing too. So, but we could really talk about, can it be proven, but again, somebody that said something is out running and somebody runs them over with a car, or somebody supposedly committed suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head.
Overdose or
they shot themselves in the head, but like they shot themselves behind their head 8 times. And I don't know how you shoot yourself 8 times without dying before you shot yourself.
I've never seen the result of anybody shooting themselves once like that.
Yeah, but again, just like back then, stuff gets swept under the rug, and just like the government with UFOs, hey, that really didn't happen. So they're trying to spin it. So that's why we always say, hey, did this happen or not happen? And it's hard to say because we weren't there unless we witness it.
Yep.
Now, just imagine how easy it would have been to have swept things under the rug, let's just say 40, 50 years ago with P. Diddy. He would have never, had it not been for the internet and the information age, nobody would have ever known what happened to him. The Me Too movement kind of pushed a lot of that stuff. None of those people would have ever come forward. They'd have been too afraid. And Epstein Island, he would still be going strong. There would be none of that. None of that will come to light.
But the thing is, there was stuff like that back then. We're talking about all these parties. The Bela Lugosi parties were like famous. These are the same things that P. Diddy was doing, all these parties. But nowadays, with the internet and all that, if you piss somebody off and they're of power, they're gonna run you in. It's like Cosby, Bill Cosby. I think he said something wrong politically, and then the next thing you know, now all these women are accusing him. There is some other stuff going on behind the scenes, I think. But so if you're out there and you're in the black ops type of thing, please don't kill me. So I'm just saying stuff right now. So I want to live a little while
disappears,
longer.
we know.
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is this, and I'm gonna say this. Thank goodness we all grew up in the days before TikTok and Facebook and what was the other MySpace and thank goodness, because some stuff we probably did as teenagers. Yeah,
we all did. That's why we're doing shows like this now.
Yeah. And I make the joke, but if we're ever together and somebody disappears, they're coming for us.
They are. Oh yeah. They're coming for the people that have the serial killer show.
Tom, Matt,
I know.
Blaine.
That's the problem. That's the problem. I look like Garth Brooks, and he's supposedly.
Look, y'all, he does. I wish I had the picture of, but
you really do.
Yeah.
Look, y'all, look. I swear, when we come up there, you're gonna have to get a cowboy hat and let's take a picture and put.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of pictures I could show you. Look. There was a point where when my children were babies and all that. Mm-hmm. We'd show them a picture of Garth Brooks, and they go, "Who's that?" And they go, "Daddy." Yeah.
Aww.
Because I play guitar too, so they had a hard time. You're showing them Garth Brooks, they think it's Daddy. So.
Well, we're not at the point yet where we need to create content for season 2, but because they say at any given time there's 40 serial killers operating in the U.S. But if we ever get to where we need to, we know we got some backup. So.
Oh yeah, we got some. We'll just create a serial killer. That's all. So.
And have you noticed that, Lee, Matt, when we go somewhere like that, I'm gonna just say that Savannah thing that me and Lee were. Have you ever noticed that we run into some weird stuff when we're together? Like, always,
definitely, right? It,
well, that was
when you got people that are sensitive and somebody picks up on the fact that they're being spotted and they they've been figured out, it freaks them out. Or when they try to give off that creepy vibe and you see right through it and you're like, okay, why didn't this person freak out right now? You know?
Yeah.
So
and Tom taught me something. He said, look at them and go, I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see
Well,
you.
the thing is, you're calling out their familiar demon.
Yep.
The thing inside that they're brought up, their learned behavior that makes them that way. You're calling it out. You know,
Right.
hey, I see you looking, and they're like, oh, you know, it's the
I
same
did
thing.
that on my travels. Let me say,
Yeah.
I did it, and it worked. They just walked away from me.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. You got to let them know. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're planning.
I just looked straight in the face and right face to face and said, I see you.
Yeah. And if more people, more people, if they see that, when you look at somebody, the soul is through the eyes. You look somebody in the eyes, they can't hide what their agenda. There you go. They can't hide their agenda. You know, when you're in a certain, there you go. Look at those eyes.
Look at his eyes.
Yeah.
And look at his eyes.
Yeah.
And we were talking about her. Look at her eyes.
Those eyes right there.
They may be pretty, but
those will hypnotize you.
She's got definitely white pillow status right now. She could be definitely got the good eyes right there.
Well, the thing is
if you don't know what white pillow status is, it's that mental image that every man gets of what's she gonna look like laying out on a white pillow next to me. You know, it doesn't matter who you are.
I don't know. As long as it's not George Costanza on a rug in front of the fireplace, I think we were okay.
Oh my goodness.
Good morning, fella.
Yeah. So, you know, we're getting almost like 10 minutes to go, and probably one of the biggest ones in history, where I still think, to me, a crime occurred at the time. It was still considered a crime, but at the time, back in the day before he really came over to the U.S., Benjamin Franklin, one of our founding fathers, was a boarder in this home, and in this home, 200 years after they were turning this home into a museum, they started digging up some stuff. They found over 15 or 120 some odd bone parts belonging to 15 different people in the basement of this house.
Yes.
And when they did the bone scans, they said they're 200 years old, putting it at the time period where Ben Franklin was living in this home. So
was that in England or somewhere?
Yes, that was over in England. I think it was on, 36 Craven Street in London, if you ever want to go see the place, if you're over there at any time.
Thank you, Janet.
See what kind of energy you get out of that place.
I wonder if anybody's ever thought to look here where he lived.
Yeah. So, but that's the whole thing is at the time, you know, he's living there, and they go back in history to realize that Ben Franklin had another guy living there with him, you know, a buddy of his. And this guy's name was William Henson. Now, William Henson was a young doctor. He was learning from some other guy, and the other guy, they had kind of a falling out. So he needed a place to practice his anatomy. So he was running his own little anatomy classes out of the basement in this area of the house. So back in the day, if you're going to be doing anatomy, it was illegal. So, you know, you couldn't have bodies. The only time you could get a body was if it was somebody who was put to death in jail. Then you could get bodies that way, but they weren't coming in enough. So these people were grave robbing and all that. So, of course, that's illegal. So Ben Franklin could have been part of robbing graves to help this guy do his studies down in the basement. So, you know, they're discovering all this stuff. And that's like the crazy part. Is, you know, the woman that ran the house was William Henson's, I think, mother-in-law. So that way you could get away with it more because they're all in on it. They all knew each other. So they were probably all robbing graves while this guy could do his work, you know, because it was important back then, you know, to study and, you know, have medical stuff go forward. But again, it was still illegal at the time, to the point. You guys ever hear the term skeletons in a closet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know where that term came from? So originally it was called skeletons in the cupboard, because over in Europe, they didn't call it a closet. They called it a cupboard. So what would happen is back in the day, these teaching schools, so it was illegal to have these bodies unless they were checked in and they had to be tagged and all. Some of them were illegal. So when they knew the inspectors were coming, they would jam all these skeletons that they had into the cupboard or the closet to hide them. So those are their secrets. So the inspectors wouldn't see, and then they would go by, and then they take everything back out. So that's where the term comes from. So, you know, it wasn't until years later, way after that, I think in like the 1800s, where people could start donating their bodies to science. But at the time, it was very illegal to be able to do that, grave robbing and all that. So Ben Franklin was probably one of our founding fathers, was a criminal. Just like a lot of the other politicians.
Wouldn't be the first politician. Yeah.
At least aiding and abetting one.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Man,
but you know,
I'm blown away right now because I did not. That one shocked me.
Yeah, I looked it up and I was like, dang, because you know, you guys, they had mentioned some folks, and I looked them up and I was like, think about back then, because I mean it was like that, but think about how many more politicians, famous people down in, I mean, you know,
but just like in Hollywood, you think about it in politics too. In Hollywood, you have a rival.
Yep.
Who's to say the rival doesn't have an accident so you could take that spot? How many people, some of these people, to get power, run over somebody else just to get that power? It's still a psychosis. It's hey, look at me. I want power. I want to be over people. I want to rule. I want to be the center of attention. That almost like that narcissism that comes in, or the look at me, and you know, that type of thing. Is that what creates a lot of that, especially in Hollywood, politics, any of these types of people? That's the potential or the mindset behind some of these people. They're so desperate to get to their goal that they'll do anything, and they have no remorse about it either.
And to keep their goal,
yeah, exactly. So that's why there's the potential for a lot of these that we mentioned tonight that they actually were, but they were swept under the rug. Yeah, there's no evidence nowadays, but we don't know. But it's very interesting, and has some of you out there that are watching read into them a little bit more. I know
I did, and I was shocked.
Yeah. But even the Ben Franklin one, the guy, this William that was with him, died at 36. He was working on one of the bodies, and he cut his finger, and it got an infection and got sepsis and died. So, and one of the dead bodies he was working on, so he got infected from it. So, I don't know, him getting infected like that and then finding out how he got infected. Did that create another way of working on dead bodies? Did he create another scientific way to do things? Who knows? But it seems that always something bad happens to get something good out of it, I guess. So
that's true.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
So as far as famous people, we got Garth, Tom. We got Clark Kent, Matt. look at that little hair. It does look like Lee. I don't know.
Matt, try and pull a little curl down.
Just one. Come on, do it.
See if we can do
it. Now listen, Lee is Morticia.
Since our kids were little.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah.
Since our kids were little, people called Matt Superman.
Yep. Clark.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call him Clark for now on. So
I just don't want his curse.
Just don't put the costume on. I guess.
We'll just avoid the curse, right?
Avoid the curse. Avoid the curse.
Oh my God, that's funny. That's funny. So, but there's other things that people were accused of that were famous at the time. There were so many famous people that were accused of being Jack the Ripper.
Oh yeah.
What was it? Queen Victoria's grandson. H.H. Holmes. Before he was, of course, the first big serial killer, more famous in our country and whatever. But he was over in that area at the time it was all going on. So there's a potential there. But they kind of found some Polish guy that they're saying DNA matches. Some of the stuff left behind that they were able to pull, which is amazing.
Well, maybe it wasn't just one person. Maybe it was a copycat. You never know.
Yeah, it could be,
Yeah, especially with that.
Wasn't the Sweeney Todd movie kind of based roughly off of H.H. Holmes?
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I'm glad that you said that. Because
Lee, you're on here twice.
Yeah, that's cool.
There can be only one.
Lee,
I know, that's why I was like, there can be only one.
Lee, are you having a split personality as we talk about serial killers? Should we worry?
This is true. This is the truth is known.
Yeah, but I'm glad that Matt. I'm glad that you mentioned that the comparison of Sweeney Todd to an actual real serial killer, because that's what we're going to be talking about next week.
Cool.
Yeah,
with
with
that thing going on.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about next week. Our big show is going to be, to end off Spooktober, our Mondays. We're going to have James Stokes on, who played, of course, Jason Voorhees. He's been in Stranger Things. So what better guy to ask than a guy that plays a movie serial killer?
Yep.
And how do we compare a lot of these movie serial killers are based off of real serial killers, and we're going to see. We're going to talk about some of the movie ones and who they compare to and why we think they are used for that particular thing. Just like a lot of people right now are watching Monster right now, the story of Ed Gein, and how they're going about that and how they're maneuvering that. We've watched Stacia and I watched so far a couple of them, and I like how they're transitioning the Ed Gein story, his psychosis, and they're maneuvering in, the movie Psycho and how that came about. And I think it's pretty cool how they're doing that. So there's a lot of moving parts. I know some people don't really like that. It's a little too hard to follow, but it's actually pretty good of some of his influences and how they're all integrating and how they're working together. I kind of find it a little fascinating, to tell you the truth. So
it is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, wasn't it? That's based off of a real story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
so
imagine?
There's tons of them, like Silence of the Lambs, the Mr. Brooks, all these serial killer movies. These people that write them, it's the people that are real serial killers in real life. You just write about them. The things that they do, a normal person can't come up with.
Most people can't think that actually happened. I mean, they can't accept. Their brain just won't no. That's a movie. And no, it's real.
So that's why they're using it for these real to make movies, because who the hell thinks that way? I got to write a movie about this. Like we were talking about earlier, we should make a movie about Mr. Rogers and Captain Kangaroo and Bob Ross having a group that is a serial killers or something.
Or the one we had talked about earlier about a group of paranormal folks who do a podcast about serial killers, and then that might be a book. That might be.
There you go. There'd be a book.
The one thing I'd like to say is, and first off, thank you for letting me be on the show tonight. Yeah. And but think about what these investigators and law enforcement officers have to go through that see this stuff firsthand, and are uncovering it and putting it all together and seeing this completely inhuman treatment of people and bodies and stuff, and having to comprehend it and put it all together to make a case. I mean, they're having to dive so deep into it, they'll never forget it. This is stuff that will stay with them and traumatize them, whether they accept it as trauma or not. But they're going to have to deal with this forever. And my hat's off to all those guys that have done that. Yes. I know one of my former pilots ended up being an investigator, and he's working on a serial killer case right now. And hands down, way to go, guys. Stick it out. If you ever need any help talking through stuff, we'll gladly talk to you, I'm sure. But
if we can't, we'll find somebody that can.
We will. We definitely will. But yes,
I got a group. I know of a group that could talk you through any PTSD or any stuff. It's called Leitreanna.
And we all.
I think I know a few people. So might be staring at each other right now, but. And one's staring across from the table from me right now. But
hey, Stacia.
And she said hi. So, and those are big things. But you hit it right on the button there, Matt. Just the studies I did, what I was involved with over the years, and just the whole data and trying to get into the mind of these offenders and killers and all that, what makes them tick, all the study that goes behind it, all the interviews that you have to do to try and figure out patterns. And it's so hard because not everybody's the same. Everybody's got a different fingerprint. You could have a pattern. It's like you don't know until after they're captured, really. You could get close and you get, nowadays, of course, it's a lot harder to be a serial killer. So, because there's a lot more cameras around, DNA is more advanced and those types of things. But some of these people are extremely intelligent. And with anything, if somebody wants to do something, they'll figure out how to do it.
They will.
Right.
But you know what I think about? And it's weird, but I think about these people that live in these where there's no people. I mean, they're, up in Alaska, Canada, or wherever, and just think about what they could get away with, because half the year, everything's halfway closed down.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what they could get away with. Somebody gets lost and they're gone. Well,
yeah, but we take it for granted. We're talking about all the serial killers that we're talking about are mostly from the U.S. There's other countries that don't have the advancements that we have, that people go missing and somebody kills somebody, and there's all that type of stuff, and the atrocities that happen all over, the world. Those are the things that we have to keep aware of too. We live in a great country, but we have to be mindful of, what goes on, as what we talk about on this show, serial killers and murderers and all that, and supernatural. It all happens every other places.
Yep.
But a lot of it is they don't have what we have, the way they could get to DNA. They don't have the labs to be able to do this stuff on a, almost instantaneously or as fast as it could be done. So
think about the countries where people go missing too much and they don't think anything of it. Oh, well, third world country, they're gone. Yeah. They're just gone.
Like we were talking about the guy that was the black magic killer.
Yeah.
Those people were disappearing like crazy, and people were trying to figure it out, and they were leaning towards supernatural interference.
Yeah, well, it is, and even you go nowadays, some of these serial killers, they have their need to kill, and a lot of them they're just killing like street people where they didn't think anybody's going to care that they went missing.
Right.
Especially in cities. Yeah. In cities where a lot of the law enforcement's overworked, and it's hard to get to these cases properly unless, something's pushed on a different thing. There's a lot of unsolved stuff out there. There's a lot of cases that still need to be solved, all these cold cases. And I know there's people in the paranormal that, are working towards, helping out on these cold cases and reenacting them to come back and try and solve some of them, especially serial killer cases. A lot of them still are unsolved. It wasn't until recently, the Golden State Killer, they found him by DNA, and he ended up being a former law enforcement officer.
That's what,
So it's crazy how science is coming along, and unfortunately, they're finding some of these people have long since passed. DNA has finally figured out potentially who the Ripper is. I don't. It sounds doable, but there's been so much interference of that over the years. A lot of people aren't going to be like, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't happen. I don't know. But there potentially is with that DNA evidence. So I don't know how close it is, and within, if there's still the potential of maybe not. But I think the whole Jack the Ripper thing it made it so great was nobody knew who it actually was. It was just the guessing of who it might have been.
Yeah, and they still
I don't think anybody wants it to end. Yeah, I don't think anybody wants that to end.
No, I don't think they do either.
That's
well,
what
you
makes
guys,
it great.
I've got Raven up in just like a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this: don't miss next week's.
Yeah,
James Stokes. We met him in person, and I've communicated with him a lot.
Yep.
Through the internet and stuff, and and different shows and things. And he is awesome guest. Yep. He's a sweet guy. He's not one of these people that I did this and no. He's down to earth. He's gonna fit in. Matt, come back with us.
We should have a bit.
You met him.
Oh yeah. But we know you met him, Gwen.
Yeah.
I love you, Matt.
Well, the great thing is when you guys, see him next week and all that, and you're enthralled by him as much as Gwen was and everybody else.
Yeah.
You'll want to come to Salem Paracon to be able to meet him in person.
Right.
That's going to be a big one. He'll be one of the guests, just like Gwen and Matt and Lee. They'll all be up there. And that's going to be a fantastic
Matt, we're going to
night.
kidnap you from drill and just bring you anyway. So.
Yep. So just tell him a serial killer stole you. And, so
there you go.
You
a bunch of serial killers. My book, and I'm going to write. Well, I will put it out there.
So, yeah, we'll just go.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it out there, you guys. If you don't know what we're talking about, I played the commercial, and I'm going to play it again before the end.
Yep.
But come to Salem. It's the 15th of November. It's a one-day thing. Tom and a bunch of other people are involved, I know, and I'm sorry for everybody. I don't have the whole list. But there are a bunch of awesome people, and I have seriously been thinking about doing what I did before the Paracon in Connecticut and grabbing some more folks. I know Carl Johnson wants to come on, and we're just trying to fit him in somewhere, but we're going to try to put some more people, even if we have to get one together where everybody that's coming can pop in and say, hey, for a few minutes.
Yeah, we did that on the birthday show. And we had Johnny on. We had all of us on with, Kenneth Drake and everybody, and Stacia, of course. So it'd be another good one to do where we can have the old Brady Bunch Hollywood Squares thing going on.
Yeah, I would like, that's just out there. I would like to just do it, just to get it out there because we want people to come. Have a good time. I'm excited. I've never been to Salem. I'm excited about going and seeing the people.
But not only that, you get to come and see all these people and hear some of the people speak and all that. It's gonna. But later on that night, there's a few spots left. There's going to be a ghost hunt at a place that never really been investigated. There in Salem, the Satanic Temple. So we're going to be bringing a group in there of 20 people, and we're going to get to take a look at that, see what's going on. It's a former funeral home, and there's a library in there now too. So that should be interesting. Funeral homes are always interesting. Case in point, I grew up in Southington. That's where the Haunting in Connecticut event happened. At the funeral home turned into a home, and the Warrens investigated, and our buddy Johnny Zaffis was one of the leads on that back in the day. That's, I think, 85, 86 when that started. I think they finally went in 88. That was around the time that I got to meet Ed and Lorraine, and that kind of started my course on everything leading up to this point of all of us talking tonight. But, it's great when you meet people and they put you on your trajectory and you thank them for that. And you get down and you do all the work and you get to this point to be able to, help people out and, do all these cases. And, after 40 years of talking to people on the phone, going to their homes and thousands of cases and all that, and, working in the law enforcement field and learning how these people's minds tick, it's almost the same thing to me. You never really know. You can never really figure out the mind, and you can never really figure out the paranormal. It's the chase. So, and that's what makes
it's the experience that we all love. Yeah.
And that's why we love these types of shows. So, because it's fascinating. So as long as it's fascinating, that just makes life worth going the next day and the next day and the next day.
There you go.
We learn more and more and more about it. So.
Well, this is great, and it's flown by. Matt, thank you. Please come back. We try to get him to come back more often, but he won't cooperate. So.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Well, the government decided it didn't want to pay me and be a part of it, so I said, "Hey, I gotta look at another option here." So, expanding my
you could always be Clark Kent.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Off we go.
Just remember, Matt, I could set up a black ops operation and get you out of drill, but.
Yeah. Okay. We'll work on that.
Baby. Snatch and grab.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
I don't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah. We got a lot of really cool stuff going on right now. So, hopefully I get a chance to be with you guys a little bit more.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yep. Oh, that'd be fantastic. So, but
all right, guys.
We'll see everybody next week. Lee, love you. Matt,
thank you guys. Love you too.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Gwen.
All right, we're out of here, people. Have a good night.